Partnerships are vital to our global outreach, enabling us to take the love and hope of Jesus Christ to those who need it most. Our Boots on the Ground Partnership Program physically ministers to those in desperate situations all over the world. The Israel Partnership furthers Kim's legacy of outreach to Israel and Jewish people worldwide. We invite you to become a partner today. Join us today and be part of a community that inspires hope, brings restoration to life, and often healing from the past. Together, we can make a difference, and we thank you for your ongoing support.
Shabbat Shalom, Israel partners, and welcome to our weekly report. And this report is going to be real quick because we are filming right now. It's a Wednesday, and I'm not sure exactly how things are going to unfold, but I want to update you about what's happening with the negotiations about what we call the hostage deal, because this is the main story in Israel. Actually, it's the main story in the Middle East and even in some places in the U.S. An Israeli minister used to be the ambassador to the U.S. Ron Dremer is on his way to Washington, D.C. to speak together with the administration to see if there's anything they can do together with the Qataris and the Egyptians to try and convince Hamas to go into a better deal maybe for Israel. But what they're talking about right now is literally to release in stages, to release Israeli hostages. In the beginning, they're going to release civilians and maybe women and elder people and the sick people. And later on, they're willing to maybe release also soldiers and some dead casualties that their bodies are still held in Gaza. In return, Israel is demanded to release hundreds or actually thousands, in the end of the day, thousands of terrorists, many of them with blood on their hands. And the other story, which is the hardest thing to digest here in Israel, is to extend the ceasefire that in the beginning they speak about 6 weeks, but the main goal, both for Hamas and for the Islamic jihadists, and that's the biggest story we heard recently, for Biden, is to reach a ceasefire that will stop the war, literally will stop the war. And that's impossible in the eyes of the Israelis, because you have to understand that if the war stops without reaching the goals of the war, the government of Israel, first and foremost, will topple. The Israeli citizens, and you're talking about 150,000 Israeli people, they are literally like, I would say, even, refugees in their own country because they left the south and they left the north, running away from the rockets and the missiles of the Hezbollah and Hamas. And they're all centered in the center of the country. The government, meanwhile, are providing them with accommodations and housing. But in the end of the day, we don't have enough money to support all these people away from their homes, in hotels and guest houses. So this pressure will start mounting and mounting to the extent that Israeli government will not be able to finance all these movements. These people are not going to go back home if the Hamas is not finished and just, exterminated, totally exterminated the Hamas, because the 7th of October, this traumatic day, is in the hearts and the heads of each and every Israeli nowadays. And they know that if Israel is not going to finish the story with the Hamas and push away, further away, the Hezbollah up in the north, civilians and citizens are not going to return to their homes near the borders. This is too traumatic. It's a catastrophe if they can invade again. And that's the biggest issue here in Israel. Most of the Israelis, the heart goes out definitely for the hostages and for the 136 captive people that are in Gaza right now. But a lot of the Israelis, and especially the right-wing parties, are saying you cannot release 136 hostages, and in return, you're going to take 10 million Israeli hostages in the hands of the Hamas and Hezbollah, because the rest of the Israelis will not be calm and will not settle for this situation that Hamas can still work, can still thrive, can still wage war against Israel. And the main goal that they were thinking about ahead, the minute they have captured our hostages, is to come to reach this point right now, that we're going to release all their terrorists in the prisons of Israel with blood on their hands, and they will force us and twist our arms together with the Americans and the rest of the world to stop the war when it's convenient for them, not when it's convenient for Israel. So obviously the left wing is saying to Bibi Netanyahu, we'll give you a parachute, an umbrella of support politically. You don't have to lean on the right wing, but this is going to be ad hoc just for now, just until they're going to release the hostages. But the next day, the Hamas wants to get guarantees from the US and the international community that Israel is not going to return to the war. And this is not possible. If Israel is not going to reach all the goals of this war, which means to take down Hamas 100% and to return the hostages, all these people who died on October 7th and throughout the war, already 117 days now, they died for nothing. All these soldiers that followed the orders of the government and ran into Gaza to fight and to try and release the hostages and to fight for the security of Israel will feel the betrayal of the government, will not come again when the flag will call them. All these people that gave their lives, dozens of thousands of Israelis are in a very dire situation now. Hundreds and thousands of Israelis died in the war. Thousands of others have severe casualties, hospitalized, paralyzed, in tough injuries. And all that toll will go for nothing if the Hamas, for the return of 136 hostages, will stop the war right now while they are still in power. That's the biggest dilemma. That's what the Israelis are facing right now. Don't let any of the world media misguide you or fool you. This is the biggest question. If the deal is going to go through, there'll be no government in Israel. And the public in Israel is going to turn their back on the government. And I don't think, at least the people I know, will run again to volunteer to go into the reserves to fight for Israel, knowing that the enemies, all they need to do, take some hostages and twist our arms. Think about it. Pray together with us for Israel to be strong and resilient, and for us to be able to take it all the way to the end and destroy Hamas and destroy Hezbollah and destroy all the proxies of Iran. Sorry, because the big deal now is Iran. And look what happened. American soldiers on the soil of Jordan were killed by Iranian proxies. 3 were killed, 40 were injured. And America, until this day, 3 days later, hasn't retaliated yet. The only things they say, we don't want to have a major colossal war against Iran. If the big America is afraid of Iran, let me tell you something. Russia is watching, North Korea is watching, China is watching, Iran definitely is watching, the entire axis of evil is watching. And this situation, when America is not determined and don't retaliate, it's going to pay a huge toll one day on American lives. Shabbat Shalom. Bye for now.
We welcome you to Real Life, Real Faith with Christy and Bree and myself. And we're always so excited to get together because God's doing amazing things in our midst. And on this broadcast, we're going to be talking about the supernatural prayer language called tongues. It's prayer and praise, and we want you to join us to find out all about it because it's a beautiful ministry of the Spirit through the church. Everybody needs this gift so we can be powerful, effective, and just share the compassion that Jesus has, not only for us and with us, but for the whole wide world. Join us. You're going to be glad you did.
To celebrate the new year, we're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
We here at the House of Destiny are partnering with you to let our viewers, of course, know about your company. It's Beverly Hills Precious Metal.
Andrew, explain how that works.
So I'll walk you through it right now. So if you go to BHPM.com, right there on the homepage, you'll see a form that you could fill out. And that form is very important in letting us know how we can help you. So you just put in your first name, last name, email address, phone number. There's a section that says, how did you hear about us? And in there, put Kim Clement. And then there's a portion where you could write a couple of notes down on the bottom. Usually within about 24 to 48 hours, we'll contact you by phone call, and then we'll go over everything with you. This isn't a high pressure deal. We always recommend that if you feel uncomfortable, take a step back, pray about it. You will gain the answers that you need by doing that, and come back to us when you're comfortable.